Good evening. I call the special meeting of the Florence City Council to order. We'll be standing. We pray for the wisdom to make decisions that are beneficial to the people represented here. Empower us to speak honestly, reflect wisely, and vote with integrity. We seek your guidance tonight. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. Wingo? Ms. Chambers?
Here.
Mr. Wynn?
Here.
Ms. Whalen? Here. Mr. Snyder?
Here.
Ms. Cable? Here. Mayor, we have a quorum.
We have for your approval the minutes of the business meeting of July 28th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
26 or 20?
Or, yeah,
Okay. The agenda says 28.
July 28th, 2026. I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? Sorry about that.
So moved.
Ms. Whalen?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wynn. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, for the second reading of ordinance O-19-2026, it's an ordinance adopting and approving a concept development plan in an Office 2 Plan Development Parkway Corridor Study, O2 PDPO District, for an approximate 2.174 acre site located at 7627 Ewing, Florence, Kentucky, to allow a fenced-in playground for children with special needs to be located within the front yard. This is already Autism Health. The effect of this ordinance is to adopt a concept development plan in an Office 2 Plan Development Parkway Corridor Study, O2 PDPO District, for an approximate 2.174 site located at 7627 Ewing Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky, to allow a fenced-in playground for children with special needs to be located within the front yard. The full text of ordinance O-19-2026 is, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Wynn, second by Ms. Chambers. We did have a discussion on this at a caucus meeting as well as a first reading, and did have some discussion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 5-0.
Next, we have ordinance O-20-2026. This is an ordinance adopting and approving a change of concept development plan in a Commercial 2 Plan Development Parkway Corridor Study District for an approximate 1.7 acre area located along the east side of I-70-175 between Tanner's Gate Lane and Tanner's Lane, approximately 150 feet south of Tanner's Lane, being immediately west of the property, having an address of 7900 Tanner's Gate Lane and having a parcel identification number PIDN of 061.00-00-124.07, Florence, Kentucky, to allow the development of a parking area for 21 box trucks, 21 semi-tractors, and 50 passenger vehicles. The effect of this ordinance is to allow a change of concept development plan in a Commercial 2 Plan Development Parkway Corridor Study, C2 PDPO District, for an approximate 1.7 acre area located along the east side of I-70-175 between Tanner's Gate Lane and Tanner's Lane, approximately 150 feet south of Tanner's Lane, being immediately west of the property, having an address of 7900 Tanner's Gate Lane and having a parcel identification number of 061.00-00-124.07, Florence, Kentucky, to allow the development of a parking area for 21 box trucks, 21 semi-tractors, and 50 passenger vehicles. The full text of ordinance O-20-2026, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, in the Florence Government Center, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Whalen, second by Mr. Wynn. Again, this is another item that had discussion before the Planning and Zoning Committee, which made a recommendation to this body. It was discussed at a caucus meeting. We did have a first reading where there's discussion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Cable? Mayor, motion passes 5-0.
Next, we have for your consideration Municipal Order MO 17-2026. This is a municipal order authorizing Mayor Julia Abishon, the mayor on behalf of the city of Florence, Kentucky, Florence, to enter into a certain lease agreement by and between Florence and the City of Florence Public Properties Corporation, the public properties, as landlord, and the county of Boone County, a political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Whereas Florence and Public Properties owns a certain tract of real estate generally located at 8100 Ewing Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky 41042, and is more particularly described in Exhibit A to the lease agreement. And whereas Florence and Public Properties as landlord intends to enter into a certain lease agreement with Boone County for a portion of the real estate consisting of approximately 9,500 rentable square feet of professional office space generally located at 8020 Veterans Memorial Drive, Florence, Kentucky, to be known as Suite A, the lease premises, and whereas a copy of the lease agreement is attached hereto as Exhibit A, and whereas as Florence, Public Properties, and Boone County have negotiated the material terms of the lease agreement and now intend to approve and affirm the lease agreement. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Florence, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, the mayor of the Florence be and she is, okay, it just reads weird, I'm sorry. The mayor of Florence be and she is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all documents necessary to finalize a certain lease agreement, Exhibit A, between the city and Public Properties as landlord and Boone County as tenant with respect to the leased premises. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Chambers?
Second.
Mr. Schneider, is there a discussion? Mr. Hunt?
Yeah, so real quick, in the memo outlined the few administrative changes that Mr. Neighbor and I have been working on. None of the major business terms within the original lease have been changed, so it is a 30-year lease for 9,500 square feet. It comes out to $15 a square foot, which is $11,875 every month. Every fifth year of the term, it increases by 5%. And outside of a few lost customers here or there, we've received nothing but positive feedback on the new location, and we're really happy that we're able to retain that county office on this site.
And just to clarify, so this moves the clerk's office from the basement of the Florence Government Center to the lower level and moves them to the freestanding office building A on our campus, where there's direct access to their offices over there for the clerk services. So we think it is a win. We had an existing lease in effect with them, and so this is just altering the terms of that lease
Yes.
to change the building in which they're leasing. Ms. Whalen?
So previously, the building was leased to the state of Kentucky. Environmental protection remains on the right side of the building as you go in.
Correct.
And the lease that was part of the other side that is now what houses the county clerk was unemployment and, I don't know, 2 or 3 other things. Did those leases just expire? Because the state had continued to pay those lease amounts for.
Correct. They expired. If you went into that building at the end, they had like 3 employees working in there.
Right. I knew
in
there
all that
wasn't anybody
space. So while we were sad to lose workforce, which was the main component of what was going in there, ultimately that lease expired and provided an opportunity for the clerk's office to relocate over there. We're getting a higher lease rate than what they were paying. It's about $4 more per square foot compared to what was being paid. Then the tenant finish speaks for itself. If you haven't been in there, it turned out really nice. Eric and his team did a great job on the tenant finish build out.
It was more just making sure what happened with the state of Kentucky lease. I figured it was another 30-year that had expired or came close to expiring, and that it was just done when the
Correct.
county moved in.
It was up.
Okay, thank you.
The other piece of this that just want to call attention, so the clerk has their elections department, and they were currently renting space. It was very costly for them to rent space in addition to their space out in Burlington. And so this allowed them to consolidate their elections into that building here on our campus. It is a good savings for the taxpayers that they don't have to do outside storage that's, they have to pay for climate control and very secure storage in order to house those election machines. So we were able to accommodate that, and I think that's always a good thing when you have neighboring jurisdictions that can work together, us and the county work together to make this a win-win for both of us. And I just think that was a good cooperation between Justin and his office and Boone County Fiscal Court. Is there any other discussion? We do have a motion and a second, so roll call vote, please.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Cable? Mayor, motion passes 5-0.
Next is a municipal order, MO 18-2026. It's a municipal order authorizing the sale of personal property deemed to be surplus, outdated, or otherwise of no use to the city. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Whalen, second by Mr. Wynn. Is there any discussion?
I want to specify what it is.
I was just going to say, Eric?
Sure. So in your packets, and you guys are pretty familiar with this, each year we do an auction through Gov Deals. A lot of the items that are on our list, and this is broken down, there's an Excel spreadsheet in there by department. So the fire department, the police department, and the public services department is all broken down. Many of those things are things we discussed during the budget retreat, vehicles that we are going to replace. So those have been stored at our Rosetta facility waiting for this. And then there's some other little things like drills and things that are just broken or down, some chairs and tables, just things that are no longer usable or past their usable life. There's a total of 34 items. The actual, let's see here, where did I put that? It's February, the auction will go live, if approved, on September 3rd, and will run to September 10th.
And it's done online through
Gov Deals.
Gov Deals.
GovDeals.com? Is that right? Any other questions? All right. We have a motion and a second, so seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have discussion of the Athena project, which is a proposed pilot agreement and industrial revenue bond inducement resolution. Mr. Hunt, would you like to introduce?
Yeah, so I'm happy to talk about this project. It's a great example of another 3-year overnight success. We've been working this project for a very, very long time. We do have the applicant here tonight, and they will be presenting it. Before we get into that, and I know I mentioned this in the memo, but what we're discussing tonight is separate from the zoning process. There's nothing that's going to be discussed that won't be outside of the record, but you're not looking at this project through that lens at this time. That will be sent to us within the next few weeks, and we'll discuss the zoning based off the record and the finding of facts that come from the Planning Commission. So without further ado, we do have a presentation. I don't know who's up from your team. Devesh, if you want to come up. Is the clicker set up, Melissa?
Yeah, it's on the.
It's right there.
And then the presentation should be on that lower. Todd, yeah. Nope.
This? This one's mine.
Can I see it? Sure. I can't see it behind you.
All right, works. All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for your guys' time tonight. My name is Devesh Patel. I'm partner and CEO of Athena Hospitality Group. And with me is my partner and Jay Patel, the CEO of Athena Hospitality Group. I've been I lived here for most of my life, and built my career here, and now we have our headquarters here. So it's kind of cool to see that happen. So let me tell you more about this. Athena Hospitality Group is a full turnkey hotel management company. We're approved owners and operators of all the major brands: Hilton, Marriott, IAG, Choice, Wyndham, all the brands. The four principals have combined 75 years of experience in construction, operations, budgeting, financing. A little bit more about us. We have 16 hotels under development, 13 that we currently operate. And what you see in the background there is our future headquarters site that we're going to build here in Florence, Kentucky, which you'll see more pictures in the presentation here. This is our organizational team. We have 21 people above property level. That means that work in a corporate office right now that is in Florence, Kentucky, that work in HR, accounting, operations, sales, engineering. And they are the ones who communicate to all the properties across the multiple states that we operate in. We have 16 hotels in pipeline right now, so we're quite busy, and we have several opening very soon in the states of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Louisiana. These are some of our pictures of some of our properties for Hilton, Marriott, IAG that you guys can see. And now we're here to talk about the Project Athena here on Houston Road. So it's one anchor, four campuses, one campus, four anchors, $100 million, up to $100 million project that's going to consist of a single master plan of a full service with a conference hotel, has a lot of banquet space, bar, suite rooms, all the things you can think of, luxury, high-end product. We're going to put an extended stay in, Residence Inn by Marriott, which is their highest extended stay luxury brand in Marriott. And then we're also going to put our new corporate office here, which I'll show you some pictures of each of these as we go through the presentation. And then we're also looking for a upscale restaurant, something, towards like Cooper's Hawk or Steakhouse, that type of caliber level, with especially the amount of money that we're putting in here. We want to come bring in something to give the people that type of product here. Like I said, $100 million in capital investment, 145 new jobs, close to $10 million in annual payroll, and 340 additional rooms in the market. Almost total of $21.7 million in infrastructure cost, and that does include site work, impact fees, utility deposits, landscape, sidewalks, on-site storm, reserves, and contingency on that. Here's the four anchors. So we got a full-service hotel, our Residence Inn, upscale restaurant, and our new corporate office. This kind of overview of the master site plan. You guys can see the big conference-style hotel there, our corporate office, Residence Inns, and the upscale restaurant near Houston Road that gives it that frontage there. Here's another angle that you guys can see, unified campus. Another angle, kind of shows you the overall picture. This will be a full-service hotel. We're still negotiating with the big brands, either Hilton or Marriott. That's going to have a lot of conference center, banquet space, full-service food, beverage on site. A lot of the business kind of goes downtown right now, so we're going to bring it to Florence and help this community out there. This is the Residence Inn by Marriott, luxury extended stay hotel that kind of targets, the longer stay corporate clientele that want to stay here for longer term, 7 or more night stays, that has, the full-size fridge, dishwasher, kind of a more of apartment style living. This is in the front here is the upscale restaurant that we want to put. Like I said, freestanding pad, serves the hotel guests and the community, supports the banquet and private event overflow, and gives just our community, I think, what it needs, a little more higher end, a little steakhouse or a little higher end restaurant versus going all the way downtown. And again, our corporate office here, that's state of the art. You know, when I was designing this office, and this is really the actual picture that you're seeing, you know, my vision was more of, you know, Google type, Facebook, you know, kind of have that unique modern design to bring to Florence, Kentucky here. And it helps with recruiting as well, by the way. So when you see a nice office, it helps to recruit some of these people. We'll have an actual gym inside the office too, so, you know, people can work out when they're on their break. Again, how we intend to build owner-operator, you're only dealing with one operator, which is us. Design-led, we have Chatrick Architecture and Urban Design that's going to be, that has, came up with these concept designs. And, you know, the anchors sequence so that early phases stand their own and support the ones that follow. And then again, obviously we need the support of the city to, you know, align with Florence here. Here's a little picture of Athena headquarters. It's going to be a 3-story headquarters center campus. You see like a 2-story multi-level when you enter into the building. State-of-the-art facility, 18,000 square feet, 3-story. This is the entryway into the building, more modern concept design. This is when you walk in, you're going to see atrium reception. When everybody walks into the building, that's the reception's office. Some more pictures of just multi-use workspace, open workstations, and some, you know, different areas where conferences can happen, teamwork, collaboration. And the rooftop. So, you know, if you don't want to work at your desk, you can go to the rooftop when the weather's nice and take your laptop up there and work from there. So we got a little covered and uncovered patio and terrace area that can, you know, keep people moving. These are 3 floors design here. Level 1, almost 6,500 square feet. Level 2, 5,900 square feet. Level 3, 5,600 square feet. And again, thank you for your time today here to answer any questions you guys have for this project.
Josh, did you have any comments?
Sorry. Yeah, so I think, you know, as we get into the concept design stuff, we'll certainly get into that on the zoning side of things. I know you've been working on this for a very long time.
Yes.
Huge due diligence process to even get the property acquired. It's been a long time coming. I believe Jim is going to speak now in terms of industrial revenue bonds. I know that for some of the members on council, it's the first time they've ever been through that. So this is your opportunity to ask the guy the math behind it. You don't want to ask me. This is the guy you want to ask. So he's going to come up and
That's all
walk you
him.
through that. Yeah.
Mayor and members of council, I'm Jim Parsons. I'm with Keating, Mutiny, Kleekamp, and I'm your special counsel on economic development matters. We have worked with the city administration, and myself have worked with the developer on putting together an incentive package for this particular project where it would cover some of that 20-something million dollars in infrastructure costs. It will not cover it all. What we're looking at is the use of industrial revenue bonds. They might be in several phases of bonds over a 30-year term. That would basically provide a real estate exemption for the term of the bonds. The pilot structure would be the city and county would get a 30% pilot payment during the term, and the school district would get a 55% pilot payment. That 55% pilot payment to the school district is what they normally get to quite frankly break even when you factor in the SEEK. And I can explain that if you would, but basically from the school standpoint, as assessments go up, they get more local revenue, but their state subsidy goes down. And so if basically projects are under our industrial revenue bond structure, it doesn't affect their state subsidy at all. They lose no money from the state, but they can actually then give up a portion of their rate and still get the same net revenue. The school districts would still get 100% of the payroll tax the school districts get, as well as tangible taxes for the project generates, and also they have a utility tax. Again, the city and county would each also get in addition to tangible tax, citywide insurance premium taxes, and other revenue sources, utility taxes, I assume, utility fees. In addition to that, you would get the significantly increased payroll taxes. There is a component of the office part of the project that is, most of the jobs created are not eligible for any state incentives, except those portions of those jobs in the office would be subject to a potential Kentucky Business Investment Incentive. And so you'll be requested to at least match the required state match with the county. The county's participating in that too. So only on those jobs, the new jobs that would be created, that would be eligible for the state. But all the other payroll taxes and things like that that would be generated from the hotel, the restaurant, any of those things would not be eligible for state incentives, and therefore you would get 100% of those revenues. Then the numbers we have looked at, I can provide, a spreadsheet to show you, but the revenue stream to the city, even with the pilot that we're talking about, is significant for this type of project and things. The other thing about it is nice because it's in an area where it's on a 4-lane highway. So it's already, the road access is already there now. So the State Highway Department, quite frankly, as you go through the review process, may require certain improvements. But again, this is not a situation where traffic should be a major issue or a major concern. I'm not trying to get into the zoning. I'm just saying the facts are that it's in a good location for development. This also, the nice thing about this project too, besides the revenue side, it will enhance the conference space available and things like that. You already have good conference space, especially with the Turfway. You have some other hotels that might have some conference space, but this will actually enhance that. Because of that, there is a potential, and I don't know where that stands, there is a potential of that the hotel itself could qualify for a tourism development incentive. That is only sales tax. That doesn't affect the city revenues at all. So if that happens, that would be a separate incentive the hotel may be eligible for, but that would not affect the city revenue. The pilot structure we're talking about, industrial revenue bond financing, just for the council and for the public, is basically public-type debt that can be issued for a private project where the bonds themselves, the debt itself, are not the debt of the city. You have simply no constitutional or statutory obligation at all to pay that debt. It's basically what happens is in Kentucky, if projects are financed with industrial revenue bonds, and during the term of the bonds, the title is in the name of the city and leased back to the private development, it creates a exemption of local property taxes on the property, and that's where we can get the incentives. A number of projects are financed using this particular approach. I know Florence doesn't do that often, but you have done that. Turfway Park, for instance, is under that particular structure when they were doing their major expansion and things. I've drafted a bond inducement resolution and a pilot agreement for this particular project. We're not asking for any approvals tonight. This is just for informational purposes. But once you're ready to move forward, those documents are ready. There is another level of approval has to be granted on this one because of the type of industrial revenue bond structure. We have to, after the city would approve the inducement resolution, we would be filing an application to the state local debt officer. And that's a pretty it's like a 15-minute hearing, quite frankly, in Frankfurt, as long as you have everything in order for their approval. It was just really a mechanism set up that certain industrial revenue bonds, if you were exempting especially school or county taxes, you'd have to go through that process. But the process is very easy, and I do it on a regular basis. Other than that, the financials of the project are really outstanding for the city, even with the incentives we're talking about. I'll be glad to answer any questions for you.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Parsons? Josh, did you have anything else to add?
No. I guess we'll put it on the next business agenda meeting. If you have any questions between now and then, just get with me. I know that this is a lot, the math behind it, the pro forma, it's a lot to compute. It's been a few years since we've done one. I think Turfway was the last one that we
Turfway
have
was the last
done.
one you did.
With interest rate, typically when you get projects in the, above $60 million range, you're always talking industrial revenue bonds. At least that's been my experience. Fortunately for the city, for the last few years, we've been working quite a few $100 million deals, so we've got a package of these things that will be coming at the city. And, you know, you always come out ahead. There's always, in some ways, built-in clawback features associated with these, any type of incentive. A huge misconception with incentives is that cities writing checks on the front end out of the general fund. That's just not the case at all. It's an earned incentive based off the reassessments of the property and the pilot, and that's all outlined in the agreement, so.
Actually, I'm doing 2 hotel projects right now. I represent the county of Perry, and Perry County is trying to get anything they can, any development they can in Hazard, but there's 2 hotels being moving forward simultaneously there. Just for informational purposes, besides the Erlanger Commerce Center, for instance, under an industrial revenue bond structure, all those residential developments in Covington are under an IRB, from River House to Duveneck to the John R. Green project, the Newport and the Levee, all that commercial development in Newport are under an IRB structure, all to provide that benefit of the real estate tax exemption that can come with it. So
It was a TIF.
Marydale was, you haven't done anything on that one because I set the TIF district up for that, but they have a right to take advantage of a TIF incentive. And there was a kind of a reference in the agreements that you would consider potentially IRB financing. But again, until that project develops, a TIF pledge without a development doesn't generate any revenue to pledge. So, but that is under an IRB, a TIF structure. So.
Yeah. That's a true statement's never been made on that one. On this side of town, just so you guys know, we're working about $1.2 billion in new capital investment. This project, there's some others, Marydale, of course, which should kick off tomorrow, kick off in 5 years, but this is a huge focus area. There's a lot of investment. Athena is really, I think, timing this right. And we already got some good leads on some restaurants. We've really been working for a very long time to get here. Got a really good one, actually, and I haven't even told Devesh about this. So we're working some stuff, and I think it's going to be exciting development if council's on board.
Is all this property in the city?
Yes.
This is in the city, every bit of it.
It's none of the city bank?
No.
No, not with this development, no, ma'am.
This is right on the edge of the city line.
City bank, between city bank and Lowe's?
Correct.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devesh, and your team. Next, we have for discussion our 2026 tax rates on real and personal property. Mr. Lewis, please.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. So a quick agenda here. We'll go through the mayor's priorities from the 26-27 budget. We'll talk background scenarios, and then we'll talk about the tax decrease proposal that we're coming with tonight. So I won't read through all of these. You know the mayor's priorities, 6 of them, here they are. So background, good and bad news for Florence residents. I guess the good news is that your property values went up since the last reassessment in 2022. Most of Florence was reassessed this year, 2026. Assessments grew at 8% for 2026. I think they grew at around 3% the past few years. Tangible property assessments increased 14% versus last year. Last year, tangible property assessments were quite a bit down, so tangible is a bit of a moving target, as we know. And then just a quick refresher. So KRS allows the city to levy a special tax to fund our hazardous employees' retirement service costs. This special assessment may not generate more revenue than is necessary to pay for those service costs. So if you'll recall, the previous 2 years, Council opted to lower overall property tax rates 3% in both 2024 and 2025. And Council opted to decrease the special assessment each of those last 2 years in order to reduce the overall property tax rate. So these are some scenarios for this year, 2026. If we were to pursue a no change strategy here, we would keep the total real tax rate at 2.31, which would pencil out to around $8.7 million in real property revenues. For the average taxpayer, you wouldn't see, I'll go to the 8% proposal first to make it a little more clear on that last column. So the proposal we're coming forward with tonight is an 8% decrease in overall real estate property taxes. So that would look like a 2.14 total real estate tax rate, which nets out to an $8.1 million total real revenue projection. So the last column just basically says that on average, each Florence resident would pay $59.20 less on their property tax bill versus had we held real tax rates the same as last year. So another way to think about it is, your property values on average went up around 8%. We're proposing to lower the tax rate 8%. So, you might not see an actual dollar change in terms of, if you paid $200 in property taxes, it might be $200 again this year. But if we would have held our tax rate the same as last year, you'll be paying around $60 less than that. So I'm sure that was extremely clear to everyone. But my point sort of is, at the end of the day, if we choose to, as a city, lower the property tax rates, you'll pay around $60 less on average if we had just held them the same. So this is just sort of laying out how the real property tax rate is composed. So you have the 1.87, so that's the compensating rate plus 4%. That's the maximum that we're allowed to charge our citizens on real estate taxes. And then you add that number to the special assessment, which we're proposing to lower from 44 cents to 27 cents. You add those two numbers together, the $1.87 and then the 27 cents, and you get the total for real property. That's $2.14. So you can see over the past 3 years, we've lowered that total in the far column each year. So 3%, 3%, and now we're proposing 8%. You can see tangible here moves around quite a bit more. Last year the total went up from 2.41 to 2.83, going back down to 2.53 for 2026. And again, just for clarity, the special assessment for both real and tangible stays the same, so that's 27 cents. So the key takeaways here, and hopefully I hit everything that everyone has in their minds on this one, but again, the total projected tax revenue collection, both real and tangible, is projected at $10.2 million for fiscal year 26-27. That is with the 8% reduction. So that's right in line with our fiscal year 26-27 budget projection for property taxes, which was around $10.1 million, so very close. CPI, the Consumer Price Index, inflation for the past 12 months was around 3%. It's held quite steady for the past few years at around 3%, which is 50% higher than the Fed's 2% target. So we all feel that every day. $10.2 million is a 1% increase in revenues versus last fiscal year. Again, I already stated that real property assessments grew at 8% versus previous year. And then I talked about the $59.20 on average, decrease in overall tax bill for our residents versus holding rates unchanged. So I went through that pretty quick. I think, 8% decrease in taxes, 8% increase in assessments. We're really doing our best here to try to give the taxpayer some relief. And, from a overall revenue projection perspective, that aligns perfectly with what we brought forward in the budget retreat back in May. So I guess I'll take any questions.
Do we have any questions? Ms. Cable?
Just what we were talking about in between the public hearing and our meeting, kind of got interrupted with time.
Yeah.
You were explaining the preceding year's personal tax revenue produced as opposed to the tangible and real, the difference between those. We talked about running a report for that, but we
can
didn't
do
get to the answer in regards to the hazmat retirement revenue produced.
Sure. So per KRS, the city is authorized to impose a hazardous special assessment. So that would cover the entire amount of both police and fire. So our hazardous employees within those two departments would cover their salaries, shift, incentive, overtime, and education incentive. So that rate, so the amount of, the tax rate that would be permissible to cover that amount, which is a fairly high amount given the size of our departments, would be $1.37. And if you go back, we're only proposing to impose that special assessment of 27 cents. So, if you think about the real property rate we're looking at here, $1.37 is pretty close to that $1.87. So, we're really not taking much of that special assessment that we're authorized to impose in terms of tax rates. So that's where that decrease is coming. And you asked about, do we collect a separate revenue stream for our special assessments? We do not. You can see on this table here, you just really add the real property plus the special assessment to get the total. That is what the taxpayer will see on their property tax bill when they get mailed out in October.
Ms. Whalen?
So that says $1.87 at the top,
Correct.
and that is the comp plus 4 rate on the real estate.
It is, yep.
And I think what I know, and some of us know, is that the city can collect up to comp plus 4 on real estate. Lowering that amount at all creates a cumulative loss for the city. So by taking the difference or reducing the hazardous rate, which is what we've done for a number of years just to help out, that allows us to lower the tax rate overall. The thing with the hazardous tax is we are the only city in the state of Kentucky permitted to collect that. And that was done in 1980, sometime back in the 80s, I believe, where the city had an existing independent pension fund for the police department. And because the way the law was written, we had an independent one, so we were allowed to continue to collect taxes for that purpose. That's not tied to the comp plus 4. If the bottom ever fell out, if the whole world fell apart, if the city needed the revenue, they would be allowed to, at some point in the far distant future, raise that special assessment to cover the actual cost of the hazardous duty pension. But by keeping the real estate tax rate at the comp plus 4, we aren't jeopardizing the future collections for the city on real estate taxes moving forward. If that makes as much sense as
That's
anything else,
100%
right?
accurate, yep. That was
Very
totally
well
accurate.
said, Ms.
Yep.
Whalen, thank you. Anyone else have any discussion?
This is going to sound kind of silly, but let's just do the math on a house to show the people how we're saving the money. Is that okay? So
Sure.
for instance, let's just do my house. Okay? So my house was at 122.9, and then it just got raised to 149.8. And then last year, my taxes were like 300. Hold on, I have it right here. I don't know, but can you just do the math for us and show us the difference?
I got like $346.
That sounds probably
Okay,
right.
Yep.
So with the increase of, that's like a 17% increase for me, isn't it?
Sorry, that was for you said the second was 149?
Well, yeah, 149.8.
Okay, so let me do the first one.
So my house was assessed at 122,900 in previous years. And then this year, like Jason said, I had an assessment done. It took me to 149.8. I have that as like almost 18%. But you said average people are like 8%, right?
On average, yeah.
For 4 years.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 4-year time, so you won't get assessed again for another 4 years. So
Right.
in the last, say, 4-year time period, we produced 3%, 8%.
Right, yeah. So if we were not doing this adjustment, I would have gone from what to what, and then now, if we do this adjustment, then I'll be at what? That's what I just want to
Yeah.
kind of show the numbers to the people.
That's a great idea,
Yeah, so it looks like, just doing rough math here in public, always fun.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, so
And a disclaimer that if it's
probably
wrong,
pretty
you'll
good.
Yeah,
you'll
you-
come back
Smart
the next
guy.
meeting and tell us.
based on what I see, you would go from around $283 last year to, if we held rates the same, you would go to $352, which is a big jump. If we do the decrease, you would go to $320. So, doesn't fully offset, right? But it makes a dent.
And
But
that's-
congrats to your house property going up, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody,
house
and
values.
it's kind of dangerous when you do one person's house, because some go up.
But I mean,
More than
just
others,
for me
so.
though, I mean, I'm still saving.
You're
You know.
paying more, but you're saving more than you would have.
Yeah, I would have been at quite a bit higher amount, so.
Yep.
I'm sure that applies to probably pretty
Yeah,
similarly.
and to be clear, I think around 65% of Florence was reassessed, and then the rest will be reassessed next year. So, sounds like you're likely in that 65%, so.
The western part of the city has not been assessed. It's the
That's
eastern part
right,
that got
yeah.
assessed. So.
So I think that the important thing to point out is the tax rate's going down. If your house was reassessed, it doesn't necessarily mean your tax bill will go down.
That's right, yeah.
But also understand that when you get your Boone County tax, it includes the school tax, which goes up. So don't confuse the two. Our tax rate is being lowered, doesn't necessarily mean you'll pay less, but the Boone County taxes are completely separate, and we have nothing to do with setting those rates or what the school board does.
Yep.
Anyone else on council have any discussion? All right. Do we have, oh, is this a special meeting? Okay, I'm sorry. We do need a request for a motion, in a special meeting, we have to follow what's exactly on the agenda, just for the public and those that are here tonight. So just, the next item is a closed session. Request motion to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101B, acquisition, sale of real property where publicity would be likely to affect the value of property to be acquired for public use or to be sold by the city, and pursuant to KRS 61.8101C, litigation proposed or pending against or behalf of the city, and pursuant to KRS 61.8101G, discussions between the city and representatives of a business entity where open discussions would jeopardize the siting, retention, expansion, or upgrading of the business. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Nguyen, second by Mr. Schneider. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We will come back to this room to adjourn. We do anticipate that this may be a lengthy closed session, and we will not be conducting any further business once we return into session. Thank you all for coming.
It's like what? What does that mean?